My boy, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Toronto Blue Jays. I got to watch this kid grow up when I was there. Absolute stud. This guy is amazing. Can do everything except for run fast and stay off the the dining table. It's the thing about him that's stopping him from being a top 5 guy is the consistency every year in, year out. Like, he's had a couple in phenomenal years. Last year was another phenomenal year, but then it's a matter of like consistency. Like, he struggled at the beginning of the season, absolutely dominated at the end of the season, but then the last couple of years were like so kind of ho-hum. Then it's a matter of then like a couple of years ago, it's 21. He had an incredible year, led the league in almost everything, number 2 in MVP. So he is right there. He is top 10. This guy is going to get, I don't know, James, what are you, 600?
No, I don't think he'll get there, but he'll be in the 500s if I had to guess, depending on his season this year. This is a big season for him, and I don't think there's any chance that the Blue Jays are going to trade him away.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he can.
Okay. Let's move on to your number 9 player. He's the only pitcher on this list.
Tarik Skubal. Obviously, this year's Cy Young winner, number 7 in MVP, just a phenomenal year. Led the league in ERA, led the league in 18 wins, led all the pitching in WAR. What could this guy not do, except for get hit, apparently? So he's a 100-mile-an-hour pitcher. He just throws absolute gas from the left-hand side, and I love it. There's nothing more powerful than when your manager going into the playoffs basically says your rotation is Tarik Skubal and then throw against the wall and see what sticks. And that's amazing. That's when you show how good you are and what you mean to a team and an organization.
And I believe that in a 7-game series, if the Tigers faced the Yankees, I believe that Skubal would have came out, went 2-0, and the Tigers would have beaten the Yankees and went to the World Series if they had that opportunity. But this guy is an absolute stud. I'm happy watching him pitch, and I cannot wait to see him improve yet again this year. Let's go to your number 8, Mr. Aardsma.
Guy, don't sleep on him. Ronald Acuña Jr. This guy is 1 year removed from being a 40-40 man.
40-70.
40-70, sorry, I apologize. 40-70 man, led the league in basically every single stat, was the MVP. He was Rookie of the Year when he first came up in 2018. It's like we've kind of forgotten about. You know, you forget how good he was and how much he mattered to that Braves team. You really saw that offense struggle when he wasn't himself, and obviously missed almost the whole entire year. It's a different team, different organization when he's not on the field, and that's how much he matters. I do want to see him coming back being healthy, come back and make a difference. But this guy is, when he's on and when he's healthy, he is a top 3 player, if not top 2 player, and so that's where I'm at with him. He's an absolute stud.
And the best contract in all of baseball for the team. It is a worse contract for the player, but for the team, Acuña is so underappreciated and underpaid. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're 100% right. Do not sleep on this guy. If you look over my shoulder, you will see a few baseball cards, and I definitely have Acuña rookie cards along with my Soto and my Ohtani. That's how good he is. Let's move on.
He's making $17 million. Jesus.
Yeah. Let's move on to number 7, the most underrated player in all of baseball.
J-Ram, Jose Ramirez. I don't think people know, if you're not watching these guys every single day, yeah, you're completely underappreciating how incredible he is, how he changes baseball games, where he goes, the Guardians go. Again, he was 1 home run away from being a 40-40 guy this year, and they canceled the last game of the season. But he's also the type of player that wasn't even mad about it, wasn't upset, said, hey, I'm here for the team. This team is good every single year, and he's right in the middle of it. I met him when he was younger. When he was younger, I was younger too. But I was incredibly impressed by him. I was frustrated as hell having to pitch to him and having to watch him on the bases. And I realized really quick, this guy's going to be a superstar.
You said in a previous episode where J-Ram came in as a young guy, he had his chest puffed out. He looked like he had 2 suitcases under his arm.
Yes.
And you're like, who the hell is this guy? And then once he started pitching to him, you're like, yeah, keep that chest puffed out, boy. You got it.
Yeah, you got it. That's the thing about it. Like, you saw him walk around the locker room, like, this kid, come on, dude. This is so frustrating. You better be able to back this up. Then you watch him, you pitch to him, and you're like, okay. Then you see him on the bases. You're like, he is trouble. He's going to wreak some havoc. And he has, from the moment he got into the league, he's wreaked havoc.
All right, let's go to number 6. The highest paid player in all of baseball is not even in the top 5. David, explain your pick here with Juan Soto at 6.
Juan Soto, the reason I don't have him above this is that while he is, yes, the highest paid player in baseball, one of the most impactful players in baseball, I still think from a pure number side, there are players that just are better. I do think, though, wherever he goes, he adds so many different dynamic type of things, right? His ability to get on base, his ability to mess with pitching on, like, when he is on base, like, don't sleep on him while he's not going to steal a lot. He will steal when he needs to. He's just all the time you see him in the big situation and coming through. I do think there are other guys that throw up some little bit better numbers, but this is one of those players that you don't want to see coming up to the plate. And that's the biggest thing. I think that's one of those things that they're paying for, is just the fact that you don't, like, he messes up the pitching when he comes up to the plate.
It's funny. I was talking to somebody about Soto last night, and I was asking them what they thought of the contract, a former Major League Baseball player. And he told me, oh, he'll be gone from New York in 5 years. I'm like, oh, you think he'll do that well that he'll opt out? He's like, nah, he's just going to eat himself out of the league.
I don't know that about him. I don't know about that about him. But I've seen that happen, and I hope it doesn't happen with Juan Soto. But I think if he played a more better position with the type of stuff that he does, if he played shortstop or center field, I'd have him higher on the list. But yeah. I think that's a big thing about him. He is a very mediocre outfielder, very mediocre at best. And on the bases, he's good. He'll mess you up a little bit, but it's not on another level. It's not like Acuña on the bases. And right. So that's my big knock on him is, again, if you can have a knock on Soto.
All right, let's move into your top 5. And you mentioned it, importance of the position. And here's young Mr. Gunnar Henderson, the shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles.
Gunnar Henderson, 3 years younger than Juan Soto. And that did have a little bit to play in it too. But this guy has come on the scene so strong and basically doing Juan Soto type of things at that age that Juan Soto is doing it. Just hasn't come through with the World Series ring yet. But they have put the Orioles on the map with all this young talent. He came up, won the Rookie of the Year in 23, was number 4 in MVP, and one of the toughest MVP races I've ever seen this year. The dude is incredible, and obviously in one of the most key positions in baseball. A 280 hitter, almost 900 OPS. The guy dropped 37 bombs. Kind of does it all and is getting better. And that's the crazy thing, is like he's getting better every year, and he's still only been in the league for really only 2 years.
Yeah, I love this guy. I think he's fantastic. And I spoke to a friend of mine who's a big Orioles fan and a broadcaster, and I asked him the question that I asked you last week. Would you trade Gunnar Henderson straight up for Paul Skeens, knowing that you have all the prospects in the world in Baltimore? And he said, I would trade anybody and their mother for Paul Skeens except for Gunnar. Gunnar cannot go anywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, let's move on to number 4, the MVP that everybody forgets about because he plays with a guy named Ohtani. Let's go to Mookie Betts here.
Yes, Mookie Betts here. That's the thing about him. You can't forget about this guy. Like, it's easy to overlook him now that he plays with Ohtani, plays with Freddie Freeman, plays with basically the entire all-star pitching staff. So sometimes he gets overlooked, but then you see him step up to the plate and just does what he always does, which is come through clutch. This guy has always been the big guy, big situation. You forget how good he is because he's constantly doing it. The thing too, this guy plays every position, right? He's shortstop, right field, second base. I mean, this guy does every position you could possibly ask and does it at a MVP type of level. And that's the thing is now he's getting a little older. He is 32, but at the same time, his numbers aren't really declining. He didn't have the greatest of seasons this year. I know he was hurt a little bit. was out for a little bit. So that's the only knock on him I have him on right now. Is this the beginning of the decline, basically because of some injury stuff? But at the same time, like, don't overlook this guy. Like, he's still incredible.
What I love about Mookie Betts is not only his game, but he also has that swag. He cares about baseball. He hosts that podcast. He is exactly what Tom Brady wants to be post-career. I believe that Mookie Betts is going to be a huge broadcaster. I think everybody's going to love him post-career. He might actually make more money as a broadcaster post-career than he made during his game.
Oh, he's not going to broadcast. He's gonna sit there and play bowling.
I disagree. I think he's so good that somebody will convince him, and he will be one of the greats. I really do believe that.
He's going to be a world champion bowler.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move on to number 3. One of my 2 favorite players in baseball, Mr. Bobby Witt Jr., the guy who has the second best team-controlled contract in all of baseball.
Right, and when he signed this, we're like, wow.
Yeah, we're all like, holy crap, this guy hasn't done anything.
Yes, and now you're looking at and going, wow, the Royals got a great deal, right? That's still a ton of money. But this dude, number 2 in MVP this year, number 7 last year, rookie of the year, number 4, which is crazy that he was the 4th and rookie of the year. I know his numbers weren't amazing, but you see the progression and see where he has gone over the last 2 years. He is absolutely amazing player, transformed that organization, and obviously doing it shortstop position, and just the face of the franchise, and easily could be the face of Major League Baseball in a long time if the next 2 guys weren't on our list.
Yep. And the next guy on our list, he's getting a little older, but Aaron Judge, number 2 on your list, the second best player according to you. You played with him. You love him. Tell me about Aaron Judge.
Oh, man, what do you say about Aaron Judge, right? Going out there, having arguably one of the best seasons in Major League Baseball history, MVP this last year, 10.8 WAR. I mean, the guy had 58 home runs. After two years ago, he had 62 home runs. Everything he does, it's incredible. It's almost like, though, we're all sitting there waiting for him to get hurt again or fail, but man, he keeps coming through with some of these incredible seasons. It's just, when is he going to take that next step and really dominate a postseason? That's really it, right? That's the only knock that you can ever have on him, is when is he going to dominate a postseason?
Yep. And as a baseball fan, I'm begging the Yankees, please, because he's so dynamic and because he's so good, move him to first base. Make sure that he doesn't get hurt long term. I mean, you did it with Mickey Mantle. If you can move Mickey Mantle, you can move Aaron Judge. Move him to first base. Make sure that you can get the most mileage out of him. Let him be the best hitter in baseball for the next 5 years.
Move him to move him to first base, bring in Santander, put Bellinger in center, and boom, you got an incredible team.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you're right back where you were. And finally, if I am the prognosticator of prognosticators, this is the unicorn of unicorns, the GOAT of GOATs, my favorite player of all time, Mr. Shohei Ohtani.
Again, I mean, God, the dude's three-time MVP, three-time MVP. What do you say about Ohtani? This guy went out this year and just was absolutely incredible. 54 home runs, 59 stolen bases, setting a new level on that for those marks. 130 RBIs, led the league in OPP, slugging, OPS plus, total bases, like WAR, led the National League in WAR. And so this is absolutely amazing. It's a great argument whether his season was more spectacular or Aaron Judge's. I still think maybe his was a little bit more spectacular on the whole total base side and the stolen base side. Did not have a great postseason. Obviously, we know he was a little hurt and just didn't have that wonderful postseason. But it's crazy. He's not even pitching. And so he did this thing. He went out and had one of the best seasons of all time, rehabbing from Tommy John.
Yeah, and everybody just didn't care about that. They're just like, oh, well, every detractor, especially here in New York, where all the Mets fans wanted Lindor to be the MVP, and I can understand why he had a wonderful season. They were always saying, oh, Ohtani, he doesn't play defense. He doesn't play. Well, guess what? He didn't have to, and he still had a higher WAR than Lindor.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the thing. You don't have to play when you don't have to play defense, and you can still affect the team that much. But he could. That's the thing. He could. They just don't need him to.
Yeah. And I can't remember if you said this to me on the air or off the air. He's the world's first 10-tool player because he's got 5 tools when he hits, and then he's got another 5 tools when he pitches.
That's the thing. We've not even talked about this. The world's first 10-tool player.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.